Welcome to the Firefly Tutors TV podcast, where real teachers from all over the country discuss real solutions for parents and educators alike. Here's your host, Marissa Johnston.
Hello and welcome to The Buzz, brought to you by Firefly Tutors TV, where we talk to administrators, educators, and parents all across the country about current topics affecting school children today. Welcome to the podcast, Kathryn Starke. Kathryn Starke is a nationally recognized literacy consultant, reading specialist, former inner-city elementary school teacher, adjunct professor, author, and founder of an award-winning educational publishing and literacy consulting company. Starke is the creator of Tackle Reading, an annual philanthropic initiative supported by the NFL. An impressive resume, to say the least. Today, we are discussing tips to encourage a love for books and strengthen reading skills for all school-age students. Welcome to the podcast, Kathryn.
Thank you so much for having me.
And another great resource always is the public library.
Yes.
Just getting kids to that entire building full of books and letting them, go crazy with picking what they want, not going too crazy in the library. You'll get shushed. But, just letting them have fun and make their choices and stuff.
And I think it's a really great rite of passage that when your child is 5 years old, you let them get their own library card. You take them to the library, you have them sign their name, they have this library card. I see children asking parents at Target and Walmart and the Dollar Tree for this and this and this. And a lot of times you have to say no, but guess what? That's because that involves money. In the library, it is free, thanks to Benjamin Franklin. And so these children can get unlimited books. And that's not, something that you can do everywhere. So being able to have ownership of your own little card and pick as many books as you want to be able to take home for 2 and 3 weeks. Children get so excited about going to the library. And if it's something that you're looking forward to every 2 weeks, and then you get to go back and exchange them for something else. It is still, someone asked me, recently in an article, if I felt like libraries were obsolete. And I had to absolutely emphatically say no. And the amount of adults even that are still going online to get on a book, to get hold a book and be on the wait list for it. It is evident that libraries are not obsolete. And in addition to books, they have story times for families. Yay. They do have computers for families that need it. There was even something recently for like St. Patrick's Day at our library where the kids were doing an event with a leprechaun. So, there's always something in this establishment, especially now, summer reading. So getting kids excited about reading right now at home. If families are running out of an idea, go to your public library because there's a theme. Every library has a theme. There's a way to track the children's reading success. So it's just a little celebration where your whole community is coming together to get excited about books for the whole summer.
Yeah, for sure. And just to kind of keep going on the topic of libraries, I recently found that my local library offers STEM kits for kids to check out and take home and build these things and, demolish them a little bit after to put it all away and everything. So, that is great too, because those STEM kits require instructions and kids are going to be motivated to read the instructions in order to build whatever it is they're trying to build. So even your science-minded or mathematical-minded children can benefit in their literacy from libraries still. So that is awesome. I know our local library recently had like a summer kickoff where they gave ice cream to all the families and everything. So tons of good stuff going on at libraries. Definitely don't miss out.
I need to come to your library.
Yeah, you should. I know. I stayed away. I was like, oh, no ice cream for me, thanks. But, still just, and then so we have 2 libraries within our community, and one of them had a magician too. So they've just got so much fun, free activities going on for the community. And, they don't check IDs when you come in. They aren't making you scan your card. If you're from one
No.
town over, they're still going to invite you in with open arms.
Yeah, I
They
love
love
it.
literacy as much as the next person.
I love it.
Yeah. So, uh, this does kind of lead in perfectly to our next question. Are there any specific book recommendations or genres that are particularly effective in capturing children's interests and helping them develop a love for reading? I know we already touched on mysteries. Are there any other ones? I know one that was very popular while I was teaching were graphic novels.
Mhm.
What's your take on that?
So I find it fascinating that books that I grew up reading, like The Babysitter's Club, are now in graphic novel form.
Yeah.
Little Women is now in graphic novel form. And it cracks me up because I have 9-year-olds coming to me and asking if I know Joe and Amy and Beth and Little Women. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I know.
Yeah.
And the fact that you get to read it in this version, I'm very envious of you because I read a much thicker version, but it's the
With no
same,
pictures.
but with no illustrations, but it's the same story.
Yes.
And honestly, it is because we have realized that for whatever reason, whether it is screen time reading, whether it is social media, whether it is just the fact that the attention span of the average individual today is not as long, graphic novels have capitalized on this. And to me, I'm never going to say I don't want a child to read a book, right? So
Right.
if you're reading comics, great, you're reading. If you're reading a Sports Illustrated magazine for kids, great, you're reading. Graphic novels, you're reading. You're still focusing on decoding large, unknown multisyllabic words.
Yes.
You are still focusing on fluency, reading and rereading until it is smooth and makes sense. And you still have to think about what you're reading, what is going to happen next. And then, of course, you have to be able to summarize that book when you're done. So you can tell your friend if you recommend it, or you tell your mom or dad your favorite part of the book. So all of these things can be done by using any particular genre, but definitely graphic novels, especially for children around the ages of 9 or 10. I mean, there's some earlier ones, but I've noticed that the 9 or 10-year-old that are reluctant, a graphic novel kind of eases that pain.
Yes.
And I still go back to series because they're just such a genius way to get these kids excited. There's the popular one that I love right now. There's the Bad Seed and the Smart Cookie and the Couch Potato and the
Yes.
Good Egg. And they're funny and they're sweet. And the children are like, oh my gosh, another one just came out. And, it's not the same characters, but it's the same author. So the same thing like with the Mouse a Cookie and a Moose a Muffin and a Pig a Pancake, same author. So either finding a particular series where everything is Pete the Cat and he does a new adventure, or a particular genre, or a particular author. When you find one of those three things, then you're just setting yourself up for reading success and enjoyment.
Yeah. And the other thing about children's literature that you just made me realize this, honestly, was in stating all the titles like Tough Cookie and Good Egg and everything. It's also introducing children to like in that case food idioms. And then you have if you give a mouse some milk, or if you give a moose so whatever, a lot of those are alliteration. So the first letter matching in the sequence of the words, or the title in that case. So it's also just exposing kids to the other literary formats that they're going to have to learn eventually. But the key thing there is something that you talked about earlier in our episode too: connections. It's so important for a child's comprehension that they make connections. It can be text to text connections, text to world, text to self, text to media. But as long as they can make connections, that's what learning is. And so when they read these books like Pig the Pug, or the Good Egg, they'll be able to refer back to that when they learn those concepts later on. And they'll be able to say, oh, You mean like Pig the Pug? Those both start with the letter P or with the same letter or whatever, and that teacher's just going to go, ha, yes, exactly, or you as a homeschooling parent will be like, yes, So, super important. Children's literature really does set the tone for how their education is going to go later on.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. What resources are out there to help parents determine whether a book will be the right fit for their child? Like thinking of genres or topics based on their kids' interests or reading level. What are some good rules of thumb to follow when helping a child pick out a new book?
So many answers to this because when children are learning to read and they're waiting for their parent to read to them, I want a child to pick out anything that is of interest to them. I mean,
Yes.
sorry in advance to the mom or dad who has to read this topic. They don't want to, but I don't care. It's the child's choice.
Hopefully, it's
So
not an entire encyclopedia.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and honestly, when they're 3 and 4, you can skip a few pages. When you get to be the child that reads it every day, they know when you skipped a page. So we have to be mindful of that. But definitely children's choice. And then when children are younger, and I'm going to say 5 and 6 is going to be my one for this, really having children reading nursery rhymes is huge. Actually, children tracking nursery rhymes, memorizing nursery rhymes, and reading nursery rhymes. When you memorize them at 3 and 4, that's going to make a huge difference for when you're reading them at 5 and 6.
Yep.
I really love 5 and 6-year-olds reading predictable books. So the sun is up, the sun is down, the sun is round, right? So a predictable book is great. Dr. Seuss is very famous for their predictable patterns, and rhyme is huge. So if you're picking up books that have predictable patterns and rhyme, and then like almost phonics decodables, right? So everything is rhyming, or all of the letters are the same, like you mentioned about alliteration. A is for apple, B is for bear, whatever. Or even books where like the pig is wearing a wig and doing a jig. So it's all basic phonics and sounds like that.
Yeah.
And then as we move into children being 7 and 8 and 9, by then we actually should have a great basis understanding of phonics patterns and word work and how to decode a word. So there, I really do focus more on their interest level, but also depending on where we are, just getting kids to read, and I can figure out what you can read. So for example, if I'm at the library and my 9-year-old picks out a book and page 1, 7 words are challenging, and my goal is not for me to read to my child. My goal is for that child to read to me. We're going to put that book away and we're going to find another book. Now, some people will refer to reading levels, and some libraries will say, there's easy reads here and there's chapter reads here. Some libraries have gone so far as to saying, well, here are the books that fall into HIJ or whatever. But really, it does just kind of come down to what the child is interested in and what they can successfully read. And if a child can successfully read one page of a book with less than 5 errors, that's a great book for that child to read. And then on the flip side, if we're reading a book with 100% accuracy and 0 errors, I'm going to try and step it up a notch. This is for our students that are 10 and they refuse to read a chapter book. And so they read Frog and Toad beautifully. They read, Pig and Elephant beautifully. They read the pigeon books, like Don't Get on the Bus. They read that perfectly. And I'm like, okay, how about reading this particular autobiography? Because it's going to have different vocabulary, and it's obviously going to have different word skills, and our kids need that.
Are there any websites or resources or even just recommendations for what to do for a parent who's got, let's say, an upper elementary child? Because I ran into this a lot as a teacher. I'd have the parent come in, their child was reading way above their grade level, right? But the themes change drastically once
Mhm.
you get into middle school, even high school
Mhm.
content.
Yeah.
So these parents are like, I want to challenge my child, but I don't want my child exposed to those almost adult themes. What
Yeah.
do I do? Do
Mhm.
you know of any resources out there to kind of help parents pick a book, like even a website they can go on and say, here's my kid's ability, here's their age, here's their interest, or even just recommendations for what to do in that case?
Yeah, well, so I always love to go to Reading Rockets and I always love to go to the Florida Center for Reading because I feel like they're always adding more knowledge about book titles and things like that, which I love. I also I really do think that our libraries are doing a good job of actually helping parents identify books and identifying close matches, especially when you say my child is this age. When you go on age and say that with their reading level, then you're going to be matched with some quality text. I
Nice.
do believe that though that there's a reason why authors like Patricia Polacco and Eve Bunting
Mm,
created picture books for a much higher reading level
yeah.
because that is allowing fourth and fifth graders to be reading books that they should be reading,
Hmm.
but they're not going to be overwhelmed or confused with topics that are not developmentally appropriate for their stage in life.
Right.
And so asking about even picture books for saying or Googling picture books for fifth graders,
Hmm.
then those lists surface. I mean, honestly, when we talk negatively about technology, then we remember we can't live without it in some ways. And so going in and saying that, I mean, I do that,
Yeah.
top picture books for fourth graders. And all of a sudden, I'm giving these titles by Cynthia Rylant, and I'm giving these books by, James Patterson is now very famous for writing books now for younger readers. And so
Yes.
a parent who's been reading James Patterson all of the time might now say, wow, he wrote this, appropriate book for my sixth grader to read.
Yeah.
So anything like that is certainly going to make a difference.
Awesome. And I love the idea of like going into a library and trusting the librarian to they know their stuff,
Yeah.
they're trained in it. One thing that I used to love, I know Target used to do this, I don't know if they still do, but they would have their like recommended book club type things where they would say if you
Yeah.
liked this, you'll enjoy this, and I think that that can be helpful too, but a librarian would definitely be able to support there.
I love that. Another thing that families are really turning to now are even like book subscription boxes. So it's a $1 billion industry, and you literally can go online and say children's picture book box or children's travel subscription box or mystery box. And they are curating a box of books and materials for families and
Yeah.
children of all ages to read. And you're literally just sending out like what's your child's age or what's their interest, and here's like curated books for you, just like people curate clothes now and like your dog's treats.
I love that. I want to invest in that now. It's like, oh, what about me? I have interests in reading and everything.
And there's a
Um,
book box for you too.
Love it. Um, so that kind of brings up another question with, curated book boxes and stuff like that. What are some other ways that families can build their own home library for children?
Oh my gosh. So we keep going back to this, but okay, the library actually
Yes.
sells old used books, but I love these stores that are called like McKay's or Second and Charles,
Oh,
or even the Dollar Tree now has a wonderful,
yeah.
wonderful book section. These are just like affordable, quick ways to
Hmm.
add books to your family library in your home. I do think that a book for every birthday, every Easter basket,
Yes.
every, graduating from school or going to the beach. Like There's always
Yeah.
ways to just add another book to your child's bookshelf. And so incorporating like little celebrations and holidays is another way that you're just adding something to them. I
Yeah.
also think that, I mean, there's a reason that book fairs are popular is because you just get to just browse everything there that you need. And then, of course, yeah, like the subscription boxes are almost going to be, the new old book fairs in a sense
Right.
that, it's convenient and it comes right to you. And they used to be, set up in particular locations to visit.
And the funniest thing, when you mention the scholastic book fairs or just any book fairs in general, those are so nostalgic for people. There are people who to
Yes.
this day don't have kids. They live their corporate life and everything, and they
Yes.
still go, nothing beats a book fair. They just reminisce on that because
Yes.
it is so enjoyable. You're given, $5, $10, $20 and told, have at it, pick
Yeah.
whichever book you want. And that freedom, I think, is what just makes it such a fun event.
And I think that's why, used warehouse style bookstores
Yeah.
are able to last because
Yeah.
you don't feel guilty buying your child 20 books because it was maybe $20. And the Dollar Tree and Dollar General, they didn't used to have a good selection. I mean, let's be clear. And present day, there are great titles in there.
Yes.
So just adding these things again to birthday gifts and things like that are always fun.
Yeah. And, I stress with my students, I stress with community members and stuff. It doesn't have to be a new book. It just has to be new to me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, because that's just the bottom line. It's a new story to me. Will I avoid some books depending on how sticky they look? Yeah, I might pass that one up. But nothing stops me from going to garage sales or yard sales or the thrift stores to buy new books.
Yeah.
It's the story that matters most. But yeah, no, those are awesome. And you also made me think of, like, when you said give them a book for their birthday, for the holidays, for any reason you're going to the beach. Here's a book about the beach. Let's read it first, or let's take it with us. When all of my friends started, starting their families and everything, I would get teased because they'd be like, Marissa, you're such a teacher. Why are you giving all of us books? Because that was going to be their baby's first gift from me, was
Yep.
a book. And
Yep.
a lot of times about giraffes because those were my favorite animals. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you can't go wrong with literacy. You
No.
just can't. So this has been a wonderful podcast episode, and I've so enjoyed my time with you. Is there anything you would like to share to learn more about your resources you provided today, Kathryn?
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, please visit creativemindpublications.com. It has children's books and it has parent resources and it has teacher resources. And we mentioned tackle reading because I originally wrote that for parents to help their kids in reading. And then we just released a touchdown in reading. And it is a playbook for homeschool educators, parents, and teachers to actually teach children how to read. And I love what you mentioned earlier about how you can use one book to teach all of these skills. And in the back of that playbook, in the back of a touchdown in reading, it's divided into 5 sections that we discussed: phonics and, fluency and comprehension, and then writing. And then at the very end, it talks about, I've chosen a few examples of picture books and then a lesson that only involves that one book, nothing else. And so kind of just parents can use that model of picking any book they want up, incorporating these 5 components. And I mean, you're going to have children loving reading at home very, very soon. So yes, I certainly wanted to make everybody aware of that easy to pick up resource on Amazon.
Definitely. That is so exciting. I am looking forward to going and checking it out for sure. Kathryn, it was a pleasure having you on the podcast today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you enjoyed our discussion today, please like Firefly Tutors on all your social media hubs like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Find us on Pinterest, where we pin all of our favorite resources for parents and tutors. At Firefly Tutors, we believe every student deserves the opportunity to develop to their highest potential. See you next time on The Buzz.